Welcome back, everybody, to Pan and Presents. Today, we're doing something a little different. Today, Teen and I are going to be discussing mental health and all the issues that are around it and all the things that we're dealing with it today. So, Teen, tell us, how have you been
I've been
since the
great.
last time we talked?
I've been great.
Good.
Uh, Honestly, especially when it comes to these two topics, I've definitely been working on those a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially with all that's going on, it's exhausting. It's
most def-
exhausting just living in this world.
most definitely. See, as far as for me, we got a couple things. I got a couple things coming up. The show "Women in the Life" that we talked
Okay.
about last time should be,
Oh, okay. Yes.
yeah, it should be coming out sometime. Hopefully soon this month on Tubi.
Hmm. Okay. On Tubi. Okay.
Yes. So if you don't have Tubi, make sure you download it so you could check it out once it comes out.
Yeah.
And I believe the last interview I told everybody that you could go to at WITL underscore ATL to go ahead and follow for notifications.
Right.
Uh, there it is right there. I was
Uh,
like, it's on my shirt somewhere. So
yes.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yep,
Okay. So then we got to put that. You're going to have to send me that so I could add it to
most
this. I want
definitely.
to put it up on here. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate
So
that.
that's good. So it's going to be coming out on Tubi. There's a few things like Tubi's been doing some stuff where you can, a lot of people can have their own broadcast, their own channel pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've had another author created a movie and she has it on Tubi. So there's a couple
That's
stuff on
awesome.
Tubi I've been wanting to see. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, Tubi is a really good place, especially for people who and creators who
Hmm.
are trying to get their stuff out. Because Tubi also has movies that we've seen before, older movies.
Oh,
Some of the
yeah.
movies, TV shows. So, and a lot of people are subscribed to Tubi. When I
Yeah.
checked it out, I
Okay.
was like, wow, it's a lot of people on this thing. And this it
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
reminds me of um how Netflix kind of started. When
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
it was cheaper to have it, and you could uh,
Yeah.
rent the DVDs and stuff like that. But now
Yeah.
the money in the account so that you're never away.
Yeah. And next Netflix is they're raising it to like $15 a month now.
So yeah,
I was like, yeah, but I watch it a lot. so, so this
oh, we
whole
good.
we're good, we're good. Yeah, yeah, it does that. So, how has been your mental health so far? Well, I don't know, like since this pandemic, how has it been for you?
Well, honestly, um, it's been it's been tough. It's been tough. I went through a lot, especially at the
Hmm.
beginning of the pandemic. I went through a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it it was definitely like an eye opener. I had
Hmm.
a lot of things going on that I didn't really realize that needed attention,
Hmm.
especially most definitely myself. You know,
Yeah.
uh, my mental health was. I thought that I was okay, but I really wasn't. My relationship was
Hmm.
taking a turn for like the worst. And I was really just trying to do what I think a lot of people do when they're going through things, just try to see the good in things.
Right.
And not to say that that's a bad thing, but sometimes it can distract us from the things that we really need to pay
Pay
attention to,
attention. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So I went through a lot. I tried to stay optimistic, you know what I'm saying? And I tried to stay busy. I tried
Hmm.
to keep my mind off a lot of things. And that was not healthy at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I did a lot of. I started as you know, I'm a poet. So I
Mm-hmm.
started a lot of writings, and some of them I didn't finish. You know what I mean? Some of them I
Mm-hmm.
did finish, and when I kind of started getting back to myself and paying more attention to my mental health, I realized, wow, I'm really going through it, man. Like I need
Yeah.
to really focus on some of these toxic, things that I got going on, and get them out my way. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, I've been in therapy for about 10 years now,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, I was going through it as well during the beginning of the pandemic, but it wasn't as frequent as I am now, due to the fact that at that time it wasn't really a necessity to have like uh the video appointments, so on and so forth. So
Right. Yeah.
now that the pandemic came, and I wouldn't say gone, but it's still kind of pumping a little bit. um
Mm-hmm.
the VA made it to where they offer video appointments as well. So now
Oh, that's good.
I do my therapy via video appointment, and it's great where you can do it from a remote area. You don't have to really be sitting in the office with them, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I definitely recommend people getting therapy. Even if you feel like you don't need it, it's good to talk to somebody that don't
Mm-hmm.
know nothing about you once in a while, so they can really tell
Right.
you about you.
Mm-hmm. 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 That's true. I have so do you feel like doing it remote, is that better than being in person, the therapy? Do you feel like is it more comfortable for you?
Um, so it definitely has its ups and its downs. The ups for
Mm-hmm.
me would be, yeah, you can basically do it from wherever you at. You don't really have to uh get in the car, drive,
Right.
get flustered with all this traffic. If there's traffic, you don't want to be late, so on and so forth. Then you gotta go in there and,
You're
sit
already
there.
frustrated by the time you show up.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So like um yeah, that's it has a couple good things about it, and you can excuse me, really get in your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I think a little bit better when you can do it, from your phone or from your computer. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
the cons of it would be sometimes you'll have your moments where you're like, okay, I got therapy. I don't feel like putting on clothes. So you sitting in therapy with your robe on. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
yeah, it's comfortable, but sometimes it really kind of keeps you in that, like, how do I put it? Uh, like that
Keeps you
lazy
in it.
mentality. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's different from when you got to actually put on clothes and be semi presentable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I like it. I like it. Actually, I like it better than having to go into the office. I did like going to the office because I'm like, all right, gives me a chance to get up and, get out, get some fresh air, and,
Yeah.
be around people walking, even if it's just walking in the parking lot.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now I'm
It's
like,
something.
let me just turn on my phone real quick and do therapy. You know what I'm saying? I like it a lot better how it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's good. So I know like now they have a lot of like apps. I don't know if it's a person behind it or an AI that does like kind of like mental health. How should I put it? I guess it's like somebody you could talk to, but through text. I don't know how well that works. I don't
You-
know.
I, I don't want to put down anybody and how they like to do it. Some people may like to text, because I know people that they rather text than talk to you on the phone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think it will work better
Yeah.
for those type of people. But
Yeah.
with me, I would rather sit and have like a human conversation. You know
Conversation.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you put things in text messages or whatever, it can be deciphered the wrong way. You know what I'm
That's
saying? Like
true. Yeah.
the tone can
You don't
be
hear the tone.
heated,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. You know,
Yeah.
so
That could be misinterpreted. Yeah.
yeah,
This is true.
I don't really like that.
No, no, you're right. You're right. And that happens often. I think that's why a lot of people get in arguments because they misunderstood. They can't read the tone always.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it happens often.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So yeah, this pandemic has been like a roller coaster ride. So I remember when it first started, I just started college and I was like, okay, I guess I'm going through college with the pandemic. So that was interesting because I was signed up to be, in person, going to class and having the whole college experience, and it turned out to be online most of the time.
Right.
And now I start like this is the first semester I've been back where I have one class in person and the rest are like online. I actually prefer online because it's just easier with my schedule.
Most definitely.
But I feel, yeah, and it's what I've observed with mental health and people. Okay, so my thing has been the thing that has really bothered me that I can't wrap my mind around is the Karens. I think we're going to talk about the Karens because okay, I get that they've been around all through history since slavery. They've been here. They've been around since back then.
Right.
But in this day and age, after everything we've been through, the if that boggles me, and like to me, that is like a huge red flag when it comes to mental health in America. Like there's something really wrong with these people.
Yeah.
And it's not really being addressed. I mean, we laugh about it and we joke about it, but honestly, there's something mentally wrong with them. And then you have the I mean, to me, like racism is a mental disease. I think it's a mental disease, racism. I really do. Um, to hate somebody for something they have absolutely no control over makes no sense to me, you know? And, but I think for me with this whole pandemic, that's what really stood out because I think because of what was going on, all like COVID highlighted all the ugly. It highlighted all the ugly. It was like God said, I'm going to show you yourself. I'm going to show you what you look like. You know, that's how I see it. And I feel like everything came out and there's so many things to address. I honestly really wouldn't know where to begin. You know, so yeah,
I
it's
think, one thing I definitely want to mention, um, the pandemic definitely helped, I think, a lot of people realize a lot of going back to even me when I was explaining myself, toxic
mm-hmm,
traits that they still continue to, go with. I think, especially not just within themselves, but that they're teaching, like you just said,
yeah,
racism. You
yeah,
feel me?
yeah.
And, um, when it comes to certain communities, like the Black community per se, ours,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
we as young children, depending on how your parents or your grandparents and your great grandparents were brought up, that shit, excuse me, that trickled down.
Mhm,
You know what I'm saying? So
mhm.
it's kind of like a manipulation. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
look, this is how to think. This is what I say is right and wrong, and this is how you should
right.
be. But
Yeah,
we grow up and we like, we realize like, wait a minute, that ain't right. Like, I can't
yeah,
even function that way.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
for young Black boys, they taught to, okay, only girls cry.
yeah. That's toxic. Yeah, yeah,
Hush, stop doing all that. When it really should be, what's wrong? What are you
mhm,
feeling? You know what I'm saying? Tell me
mhm,
what's wrong
mhm.
with you. You know what I'm saying? Instead of go to your room, I don't want to hear it. And
Yeah,
I'll tell you when you could come out. Like,
yeah,
why do we continue to do that? And then we try to figure
yeah,
out why our 16, 17 18-plus-year-old kids either show no emotion or don't want to talk to us.
Right.
You know, it
That's
goes
true.
to the young ladies as well. You know, we're
Mhm.
taught as Black women to be strong, right?
Mhm.
Try
Mhm.
not I wouldn't say don't, but try not to show vulnerability because it shows
Mhm.
this. Why not? You feel me?
Right.
Because then to me, it's like you putting on a facade for folks. You know what I'm saying? You can't even really be your true self because you don't want to be
Right.
as weak, you know?
Right. That's true.
And then they call us bitter and we got attitudes. It's not that. we
No.
were taught to be strong and you have to put yourself out a certain way so you don't seem like you're weak. Same for the men.
Yeah.
They boys grow up to be men and they can't sit there and really talk to their friends about what's going on with them on the inside, you know, because then if you got that one friend that's gonna be like, man, you being weak, bro. Chill out.
Yeah.
You know? You sound like a female. What? I
Yeah.
didn't know
Yeah.
talking about your emotions has genders. What the heck is
Yeah.
that?
It's true. It's
Big
true. And they're
problem.
all, yeah. Yeah.
You know, so people kind of like
Yeah.
shy away from mental health and going to the doctor, you know, to go see a psychiatrist or whatever to, you know, get better touch with some of the stuff that they grew up with that they need to get past or the stuff that they got going on now as an adult. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They look past
Mhm.
it like, nah, I don't need that. That's for crazy people.
Yeah. 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 It's a shame that you have to go. That's how it's looked upon. Like it's a shame that you would have to go see somebody. And everybody, I think at least once in your life you should go. Just sit with a therapist, just to talk it
Yeah,
out. You'd be surprised. Just getting it off your chest.
exactly.
You may not think there's anything wrong with you, but we all got issues.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we don't have the tools within us to help our children get through this kind of stuff. So spend that
Yeah.
little extra money on your kids when they're going through traumatic stuff. You know, get just growing up as a child nowadays is freaking scary, yo. These kids
It's
are
scary.
bullied, you know, and then you got these kids that are in school now and they see another child and for instance you got like a transgender child that wasn't really
Mhm.
going on
That
when
was
I
an
was,
issue. No, yeah, we didn't have that growing up.
you feel me? So you
Yeah.
want,
Yeah.
so, and even with that, like not just a psychiatrist, you want the schools to kind of not really put like a big blast on transgender kids or gay,
Mhm.
bisexual, whatever, you know, but some
Mhm.
kind of familiar topic, something to kind of get them to
Yeah.
realize, you know, this is you know, to some people they would say unfortunately, and I don't see it as
Mm.
anything unfortunate because with
Yeah.
time we go through phases and life just continues to change. You know what I'm saying? This
That's
has
true.
always
Yeah.
been around, it just hasn't been in the front of things like it
Mhm.
is.
Yes, that's true. It's always been there. It's always been there. And when you even read through history, you'll see it. They just worded it differently, or it was
Exactly.
displayed differently. I
Exactly.
I kind of like how Native Americans handle it. They just how do they didn't make an issue out of it. You know,
Right.
they're like, okay, well, yeah, that's just how they are. And they went on with life. Like it was nothing. They didn't make
Exactly.
an issue. They didn't kick him out the tribe. They didn't try
Right.
to kill him. It was
Right.
nothing violent. Like, okay, you know what? The other men want to go out and be warriors, and these men like to stay home with the women and cook and
Right.
clean, and that's fine. That we're not going to bother them, you
Right.
know.
Right. You know?
But yeah, not yeah, it's crazy. It's very interesting how things are.
Yeah, because
I
it's
don't
it's
know.
it's very, very interesting, you know, and that whole the whole topic of mental health is something that we definitely need to pay more attention to because again it trickles down to our kids and we trying to figure out why there's so many, excuse me, smaller children that are committing suicide. Like that's wild to me.
Now, something I noticed with, especially with my youngest daughter, um, I can understand that. I had studied the chemicals in the body, like oxytocin, and your all the different chemicals. And oxytocin is the one where you get that from hugs, you get that from physical touch.
Right.
So I learned, like, I noticed with my youngest every now and then, and I just, it's not just her, just all kids do this. They'll just come and they'll just lay on you or hug on you. That's their way of saying, I need, my oxytocin is low. I need oxytocin. And what is sad is some parents will push their kids off or push their kids away because they don't want to be
Right.
bothered because they're dealing with their own stresses and their own issues, and
Exactly.
they don't have it to give right now.
Right.
But I found in myself as a parent, you better find it and give it, pull it up. And it's something that it goes back and forth. So as you hug your child back, you're giving and getting oxytocin as well, and you
Right.
need it. Even in
Right.
that moment when you don't want to be touched or whatever, you need it. It's
Right.
healthy for you.
Right.
So, and I realized, like, that actually is huge. That I think it's something little that we think is stupid, but we didn't
Mhm.
understand what happens inside the body
Right.
when you hug your child, or a husband and wife show affection towards each other. And even if kids are like, oh, gross, they're seeing their parents hug or whatever, but it's healthy for them because it's showing affection. Like, this is how you should be treated by your spouse.
Right.
You shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's another thing that's very, very important, that we kind of, you saw mom, you saw dad, and they just did their own thing. And in some households, they weren't affectionate towards each other at all. And that's what
Exactly.
we grew up with. And then we passed that on to our kids. So,
Right. Like,
or yeah,
no, that's
growing up
real.
in a single mom household too was,
Mhm.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
rough because you got the mom that's stressed out
She's
70,
tired.
80% of the time. You know what I mean? Dealing with her own stuff, dealing with the kids, you know what I'm saying? Trying to keep the household together, And again,
Yeah.
going back to when you were like growing up, there wasn't that much affection. Yeah, you got some people that grew up and their parents didn't even tell them I love you.
Yeah.
And that's
Especially
rough.
fathers. Yeah.
That's rough.
Especially fathers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Um, so it's something that again we really need to pay more attention to and give more attention to, period, because
Yeah.
it's a big thing, that can be a big part of people's life, not just kids, most definitely, most importantly, children,
Mm-hmm.
but adults as well, because we are the ones that they're looking up to, whether we want them
Yeah.
to or not. You got people say,
Yeah.
I don't want to be a role model. I'm not a role model. Honestly, I
You
don't think
are.
there's a lot of people that honestly just want to be a role model because of how they live their life, but you are. People
Yeah,
gonna look
you
up,
are.
period.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So that's
Yeah.
why
Whether it's negative learning or positive learning, you're a role model.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So again, it's a big thing that we as adults we try to um really figure out and uh put our finger on those things that we find toxic, that you really have to be able to recognize that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what
That's
I'm
half the
saying?
battle.
Yeah. Once you recognize that stuff, get through it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Get that treatment or whatever. If you don't want to go and see a psychiatrist, look up some healthy ways
Talk
that
to
you can do
somebody.
for yourself. Start with you so that it can trickle down the line with the
Mm-hmm.
kids, and I'm pretty sure you'll see a big difference.
Yeah. And that's where, like, poetry and writing come into play, because
Yeah.
sometimes you could say, okay, you don't want to talk to a therapist, and talk to a friend. If you don't have a friend, because sometimes some people don't have a friend that listens well, you know
Most definitely.
and yeah, so if you your next best thing is to write. Even if
Right.
you hate writing, then record yourself. But writing, get it out, and then it's something that you could actually turn into something that may actually be something that you could publish, and it can help other people, because it's not, you're not alone going through whatever it is that you're going through. You're not alone. There's at least a million other people dealing with it, and
Yep.
you don't
That's
need
what
that
happened
many
to me.
people. Yeah.
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 That's what happened for me. I was writing just for myself, to get that weight lifted off my shoulders, and then boom, I'm writing. I'm like, shit, I wrote something that's awesome. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
one of my friends was like, yo, let me hear it. And I was like, eh,
Yeah.
kind of personal. They're like, yo, let me hear
Yeah.
you writing or whatever. and I read them. One of them, they were like, "Yo, that shit is dope. Like, you need to continue to keep writing, and you need to, go out here and go to an open mic or something. You never know who you can impact from that. You know what I'm saying? So
yes.
I'm hoping to have some time to be able to read one of my poems, which
yes, we will.
It goes around both these topics, Hopefully.
Okay, yeah. After the break, we're gonna do that.
That's cool.
What are your plans for your poems? Are you gonna do a book? Are you going to do an audio book? What are your plans? I think you should do an audio book.
So I am looking into that. Yes, I am. I don't want to say too much because sometimes you can't really put everything out there. Y'all just stay tuned, and I promise I'll have some good stuff coming ASAP.
Good. I think that'd be great.
Appreciate it. Me too.
Yeah. Well, okay, so then let's do the commercial break, and then we're gonna come back, and I want to hear your poem.
Okay, great.
We live in a world that glorifies wickedness. It's so easy to be bad. It's easy to make excuses for poor behavior as if no one is watching. But what if someone is watching? What if not just someone, but a whole invisible world of people, of judges, watching and observing, and they were able to see the destruction of our future based on our actions, our choices? Would we continue to make the same poor choices if they were used against us? May Gordon has been violated repeatedly by our world, but through the eyes of the unseen, she is a hero. Despite all that is thrown at her, she never allows negative energy to remold her into its liking. She remains indestructible.
Okay, welcome back.
Commercial.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I have the whole time I thought I was on this damn interview. I was like, oh Lord, okay, that's me.
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this poem is called Motions. I wasn't used to talking about my problems. I used to justify them somewhere and forget about them. But when you get to a certain point in life, you need to express the bullshit in order to really get rid of it. Go through the motions of the emotions. See them through. Open your eyes. Swallow your pride. It's okay to cry. Go through it and get it out of your system. Don't ignore it or let it linger. Learn from your mistakes. Push through those dark days. When you start to tackle those emotions and get yourself back and push through the motions, the feeling is a great and undeniable strength. It gets stronger as you begin to walk taller. From downhill, you start hiking uphill. No need to look back. Let the past stay in the past. There's nothing you can change about that. Instead, learn from it. Don't spend too much time on it. Overthinkers, recognize what went wrong and recover from it. Get your own closure from it. No need to run. Walk slow, but with a purpose. Show your natural glow. You've earned it. March hard, march loud, so that your confidence becomes confirmation that those emotions become the motions you need to move and push through. See your falls and minor setbacks through so that you can become a better you. Keep your head up and talk about the rough and uncomfortable stuff, so that when it comes back around, that bright, shiny crown is seen from miles away, shining harder and brighter every day. And nothing that happened in the past can take that away. The past creeps back, but you have moved past that. Approach it with a smile and a laugh now. You shine so bright, you are the light. Because your soul is feeding it through the motions of the emotions. We must push through. Better days are ahead, I promise. Fix that crown on your head and stay strong. See them through. Keep your head held high. Don't be afraid to cry. Let it out. Weigh the pros and the cons. Then move on. The journey of life still goes on. Looking forward when the inevitable becomes inescapable. Let your natural glow fill them cracks in the road. Remember where it came from. The strength of going through the motions of them stressful ass, now stressless emotions. Motions.
Oh, that is awesome. I loved it. That is deep. That is very deep. Yeah, I felt that. I felt every word. That is an important message. There's so many messages in there, though.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
That's I was talking about. We got to really recognize the things that hurt us, or altered our perspective of the way that life really should be. And how we really should treat each other, and most importantly ourselves. So that's what I mean.
Yeah.
We just can't ignore that kind of stuff. Got to go through it.
Especially, around. Yes, that's the part I like the most, because a lot of people tend to try to, somehow block it or tune out from it, and that it doesn't go away. It just gets worse.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So you want to be able to go through the motions so that when it does come back around, because it will, how to move. You can adjust yourself and move forward with it, and it won't be as, I guess, as tough as it was.
Oh, I think you froze. You froze at a perfect spot. Oh, okay, you back. You froze at a perfect spot because I was like, oh, the way it happened. That's a nice pose and everything.
I don't even know what I look like, but cool.
It was nice. It was nice. I mean, I cut it out.
That's what's up.
I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But I love that poem. I think it's something that everybody needs to hear. They do. And see, the reason why I think, and I'm not trying to talk about your plans or anything, but the reason why I said I talked about the audio, for me, I can't, when I listen to audio with different things, where it's expressed, where it's acted out, it resonates with me on a deeper level than if I was to just read it. So for an example, I listen to the Bible Experience, and I'm not you're not gonna find me in church every weekend. I haven't been to church in years. Okay. I'm not that type of person, but I love knowledge. I love knowledge, and I find a lot of knowledge in the Bible. But the book that I listen to a lot, is Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, because it's the way that it's expressed and how the actors, you had all these talented actors act out these verses and you feel it. And so that's why I like spoken word poetry, because you can you're not just reciting it. You are,
Right.
it's coming from your spirit,
Right.
and you
Right.
feel that. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. That's why I think the audiobook would be better.
I appreciate that, I
Yeah.
appreciate that because it means a lot. That's basically, even when you're talking to people, the way that your delivery
Hmm.
is, what I'm saying? That says
Hmm.
a lot about, what you're
I
saying.
always I used to tell one of my friends, always tell her, I said, there's two ways to say something.
Oh
You can
yeah.
say the same words, but your tone and your expression changes everything, changes the whole meaning. So there's two
Most
ways to
definitely.
say something. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. You got to keep writing. You got to keep it up. So
Thank
people
you.
need these type of messages. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Especially now with all
Yeah,
this craziness going on.
most definitely. We
So,
got to keep each other uplifted, So
hmm. Hmm.
let people know they're not alone. Everybody got stuff that they're going through, and you never know who
Yeah.
can relate to what you're saying. So most definitely.
Yeah. And you see, the problem with getting the message across is everybody's bombarded.
Yeah.
They're bombarded with messages coming from so many. Like, I recently started, I don't even have my phone in the room with me when I sleep anymore. I used to have it right next to me. And I stopped because even though I'm not on it, it just being there, and then it lights up every time somebody says something on Facebook, and Facebook got to tell me about it, or on Instagram or something. Like when it's in a whole nother room, like I can like completely tune it out. So
Right.
when I get up in the morning, I'm refreshed. But yeah, we get bombarded a lot, and I think I heard this one guy saying that he was saying that the 7-minute videos, it's not just TikTok that's doing it. Pretty much every platform does it now. The short little videos are actually bad for your brain because it teaches it's giving you, it's dumping dopamine into your brain or into your system or whatever. It's causing your body to dump dopamine. So you're constantly, it's almost like chasing a high.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, I never looked at it that way, but I caught
Interesting.
myself. Yeah. I caught myself flicking through all the videos. The videos be funny though, but,
It would be.
I guess so. So picking back up with this whole mental health dilemma, what do you think are some good ways for some people to, besides writing and poetry, what are some good ways you think people can kind of, when they're ready, feel like they're ready to snap, just kind of like it in the islands would say, pull back. Pull back. It's hard. Like,
Yeah,
mhm.
it is. I mean, well, I'll say for me, it was I did a lot of meditation. I did
Mhm.
a lot of meditation. I listened to a lot of calming music, and I tried to, I guess, what's the word? I tried to stay away from a lot of that, like rap and
Mm.
even the R&B. Sometimes that shit can be sad, April.
Yeah, yeah, it
Right?
can. Yeah.
So I just tried to stick to uplifting stuff, and I did a lot of breathing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And at first, especially when the therapist tells you do the breathing, sit there and count to 10 and all this, you like please with that.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you really actually practice the different types of breathing techniques and
Mm.
calming your body and calming your mind and clearing your mind, that works.
It does work. Yeah.
It's definitely something that you have to practice so that you can get yourself into that mode where you're like, okay, my mind is clear. To an extent, I feel like your mind will never be totally clear because
Yeah.
we're always thinking about something. At the moment,
Yeah.
you're thinking about sitting there. Shit. You know what I'm saying? You think,
Well,
you know,
I learned a technique to shut the brain chatter down. These cut it down. It's something that takes practice. And it's almost feels like you're holding your breath. But the more you do it, the more you're able to kind of shut that voice up. I don't say now. I never, ever, ever would recommend somebody completely shutting that voice out because a lot of times for me, that's your I should say your consciousness. You
Yeah.
don't want to shut it up. You know what I'm saying? But I could get when you get negative voices sometimes. It's your own negative thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I think, you should shut up. But it's almost a meditation, and it is calming yourself down, and then it's focusing on that negative voice, and then it's literally you're shutting it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing but silence in your head. And
Wow.
when it starts up again, you shut it again. And you know what I'm saying? What I would suggest is then speaking positive things to yourself, saying positive things to yourself.
Yeah.
So whatever it's saying, like, oh, I suck at this. I'm a terrible writer. You shut that voice up, and I'm a great writer. You got to say the opposite.
Yes.
Yes, and yeah, that's worked for me. Another thing that it was actually I got into listening to. He was actually a Buddhist. He's a Buddhist monk in Germany. I forgot his whole name. I think his last name is Shin. I can't remember his whole name, but so forgive me. But he did a lesson on kind of like the energy you put out into the world. He said something to me that not to me, it was a video on YouTube, but he said that when you see something negative or you experience something negative, don't pull it towards you and don't push it away from you. Just let it be. Just let it be. Because when you push it towards you, it's like he described it like a pendulum. And when you push it away, what happens when you push something away? It comes swinging back at you.
Right.
And and if you're pulling it towards you, you're taking in that drama. He says you have to learn to just let it be. There's nothing you could do about the situation that happened, or maybe there is, but you can't think straight because you're so, so you're calming yourself down. You're looking at the situation. Okay, this is happening. This does not mean that I'm a bad person. Doesn't, whatever it is, you're leaving it right there. And it makes it where you're able to deal with the situation better. You're able to think clearly to make the right moves in that situation. That's what I learned from that Buddhist monk.
I like that.
And I'll try to find and see if I could put the link in the description to where he said that. He has a lot of different things, and like I said, I love knowledge.
Most definitely.
So yeah, I've listened to things from the Taoist, Buddhists, anybody who speaks truth,
right?
And it doesn't mean that I have to believe in their religion, but he said something that was true, and that's what resonated with me. So, but it does help me. It did definitely help me get through a lot of things, especially recently, with 2020. But I've had my mental breakdowns years ago, going through my stuff, and it's like I don't wish it on anybody. I really don't. Yeah, I don't. And so when I see people going through stuff, I know sometimes I want to I want to understand why they made the choices that they made,
Yep.
And you'd be surprised. Some people are just sick and twisted. There's nothing you can do about it. They're just sick and twisted, evil people. Yep. But then some people, it's fascinating. Some people, it's just, they felt like they had no choice for whatever reason. We can see that they had other choices, but they, in their mind, with their tools and what they have, they felt that they had no other choice, whether it be to take their life or take somebody else's life. They felt that they had no choice, Yeah. So it's interesting. I think the brain, to me, the brain is the most fascinating organ. I don't know if it's an organ. Yeah. The brain and the heart. So did you know your body has two brains? Technically there's two. Okay, so there's two. Your heart has just as much, I think it's neurons, as your brain does, something like that. Don't quote me, but I'm not a neuroscientist. But what I did learn from them is that your heart has just as much neurons. It's something like 40 neurons, something, but it has just same as your heart, your brain. So that's why you'll say something like, well, my heart feels this way, but my brain is telling me to do this way. You know, your brain is being logical or whatever. So you have your heart is telling you to do this one thing, and your brain, and you have like this divide, you know, and how you feel. That's a real thing. You're literally describing that you have two brains and they're seeing two different perspectives on your situation. And you have to find the balance between that.
That's
so
interesting.
in Taoism, I read a book on Taoism, and I learned it. This one's kind of funny. They see it as you have a third brain, and it could be more, I don't know, but that's where I got to, where I was just like, wow, in your butt. So I was like,
Nah.
how? Yeah. But they're saying like what they're considering like a brain. I thought it was hilarious. What they consider as a brain is like, I guess like there's some kind of its own intelligence system working in your colon area that, hey, we gotta go. We gotta go now. I don't care what you're doing. You're in an interview, we gotta go now. You know, so that's how I understood it. Like, and it will dominate, of course, because it's doing its job. Its job is to take care of the trash system, and it's time to let go of some trash.
Right. So, is that when you get the bubble guts, when you get nervous?
Yes. Yes. I thought it was hilarious. I mean, like medically, I don't know how true it is, but I thought like that's a very interesting way to look at it. But they also talked about the heart and the brain and everything. Now the heart and brain, I'm completely on board with that one, because I really do. I can feel things in my heart that my brain is like, whatever.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that 100. Yeah.
Yeah. Your heart would be like, maybe you should give him another chance. Your brain's like, please.
I feel that.
Yeah. So I love studying. I used to listen to a lady, and I see I'm so bad with remembering names. I think her name was Catherine. She's a neuroscientist, and she talks a lot about the brain. She talks about how your brain will build trees, and it's really fascinating. She's another one that I'm going to have to find her and put a link in there too, because she's really good to listen to about how your brain works and how you can repair your brain. It's really good. She's really good. I think she's from Australia or something like that. I think she's from Australia or South Africa. I can't remember.
Either way, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, but she's really good. It is. I got to put these links into these people, but see, this is what I do. That's what calms me down when I'm really stressed out. I'll listen to other people. I go to YouTube and I listen to other speakers talk about different topics. The crazy part is I have a few pastors that I'll listen to, some of the things that they say, and then just different speakers from different backgrounds, because it's amazing what all of us have gone through and what we've learned. And this is why I say everybody has a bestseller. Everybody has something to offer from their life in a book form to somebody else. And their perspective can actually help save a life, or change that person from a wrong path just by sharing their perspective, Yeah.
I heard a saying, I think a lot of people have heard of this guy and his family. Some people agree with him, some people don't. I agree with him sometimes, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I feel like he be doing the most. But his name is Derek Grace, and he has this whole system of, and I'm sure it was, that saying was brought on way before him, but I think he just made it bigger, than what it was before. And it's unlearn to relearn. You feel me? A lot of the things, going backwards to something you said when you were talking about how people do certain things and some can't help it or whatever,
Right.
I feel like, all behaviors that we are putting out, we learn. Everything is learned.
Mm.
You think about when you're born,
Mm-hmm.
kids don't know shit.
No, they don't.
They see it, they hear it, or they're being taught. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why you see like there's plenty of pictures out there of that little black girl that's holding hands with the little white girl and they're best friends and so on and so
Mm-hmm.
forth, or whatever, because kids don't see racism
They
until
don't
you
see it.
tell
Yeah.
or until you
Right.
show them, until they hear about it. You feel me?
Right. Yeah.
So,
That is true.
that's real talk right there. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we have to do that. You know what I mean?
That
Especially,
reminds me of that
go ahead.
one saying where he says, it's similar to, or could come from that also. When they say, you can't fill a cup that's already full, or you can't, basically saying like you can't teach somebody anything when their cup's full. And yeah, you gotta empty your cup,
Yeah.
and empty and you gotta start over. Yeah,
Unlearn
I agree
some of
with
that
that.
bullshit. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. But again, you have to be able to recognize the bullshit from the real shit, right?
yeah, yeah. Discernment. You need
Yes.
discernment. Yes, yes.
Right there in one
Because
word.
yes, because let's be honest. There's some people out there who are therapists, but they have ulterior motives. So you have to
Oh
be
hell yeah.
very careful of who you let into your head, who you let into your brain. That is very, very important. So
Most
yeah,
definitely.
and that's something
Well,
that I don't think anybody really talks about. Like sometimes
at
you got to
all.
check the therapist too.
I do that. I do that. With my therapist, you can ask any one of them that I had that I actually talked to,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
within these 10 years, I went through several of them. And if I wasn't comfortable with you, like, I don't give a damn. Like, we're
yeah.
not going to go further. You know what I'm
Mm-mm,
saying?
mm-mm.
You have to be
Follow that
accepting,
gut.
and be
Yeah.
real. That's what anybody
Mhm.
wants, people to be real with them. You know what I'm saying? I ask my
Yeah.
therapist all the time, how you doing? Do anybody ever ask you how you're doing? And what do you
Yeah.
guys when your cup is full? Who do you talk to?
Yeah.
You have therapy? Do you have a psychiatrist that you go and see? What do you
Yeah.
guys do? Like, there's no way that you're just a therapist for me and other people,
Mm-mm.
and you don't go and
Without
get it off of you either. That's
yes.
a lot to
Be-
take on people's shit every day and
yeah.
have to
It
on you.
is.
That's a
And this
lot.
is the thing. Another thing that we need to understand is a lot of I don't want to speak for everybody, I'm not speaking for everybody, but a lot of therapists, the reason why they have the interest in that is because they were trying to solve either problems within themselves or within their own household, within their own
Yeah,
family.
yeah,
So they're trying to fix that in themselves or their family members, or just understand. So that's their driving passion behind it.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
something that yeah, it's
I
in
totally
this
agree.
world. Yeah, but I mean, just talking to somebody does wonders. Just writing, for me, it's writing. I think I wrote out most of my issues. I did see, I had a holistic therapist for a while.
Cool.
And yeah, the thing that I like with holistic therapy is they teach you how to, when the problem arises again, how to deal with it.
Right.
So you don't like need a holistic therapist for life. You
Yeah.
need them for a segment in your life, and then when you're done, you're done. They teach you how to kind of like self I don't want to say self heal, but problems are going to arise, things are going to happen, bad things are going to
Yeah.
happen again, but now you're going to be better equipped on how to deal with it. So
Right.
yeah, that's what I like about holistic therapists. But some people don't like it because it's different. It is different, but
It is.
I
It
don't
is.
know. Yeah,
It
you
depends
gotta
on
get
whatever
used to
you
it.
believe. So, but we
Yeah.
all, I don't think it's healthy to like not believe in anything.
Right.
Not trying to,
Yeah.
down anybody or whatever, what I'm saying,
Mhm.
to whatever you believe in. But I just don't believe that personally that not believing in anything, any kind of a higher power or anything, like regardless of science or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like you just have to, even if it's believing in your, you know, your ancestors that are up there as your guardian angel, you have to believe in something in order to, you know, I believe kind of like open your mind up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, my holistic therapist actually taught me, because I was like, okay, well, they're what is the word? They don't believe in God. They don't believe in religion. Yeah. There's some who don't believe in religion, but they believe in God. Then there's some who don't believe in God and they don't believe in religion. I think
right. Oh, okay. I don't think that's something else.
Yeah, something else. But he was telling me, he goes, either way, he goes, whether they want to admit it or not, that's a religion. Not believing in religion is a form of religion, you know,
right.
Not believing. Yeah. He says, not believing in God is another form of religion. It's a religion. See? Yeah. That's the irony of it. So it's funny because like they're trying to get away from all that, but then in a way you kind of fall right back into it.
Right into it. That's why I'm like, I don't see how the hell, you know, that's just not realistic to me, you know? So
yeah.
To each his own.
To each his own. I mean, nothing much we can do about it. Yeah, so I mean, if there's anybody out there dealing with some mental health issues, find someone to talk to.
Most definitely.
If you have no one to talk to, you
call
can
me.
Email me. Yeah, right? There you go. We will talk to you. We don't even know you. I've talked to people and I don't even know.
Just need that ear, you know.
Yeah, just somebody to listen.
Yeah, you don't even have to say anything back, you know, just let them just talk and get it off their chest. And then if they want you to give them an opinion or advice, they'll ask you. Other than that, just genuinely give them your attention and listen. That can save a life. Real talk.
It could. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, most definitely.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm happy we did our show together.
Me too.
We need to do more. Yes, we need to do more.
I'm down, you already know. You know, we'll shooting the topics out or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Keep this thing. I'm definitely down for it. I enjoy it every single time.
Yeah, good. Because I got tons of topics. I was just other things that I would like to discuss.
Most definitely, we can do that.
Like, all right.
And I appreciate you for letting me read my poem on here. So I hope
your poem was beautiful. No, you blessed my platform. Thank you.
I hope somebody out there can take from that and run with it. Real talk.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Appreciate you.
It's needed. Yeah, we need. Hopefully, this can blast and go viral, and everybody can hear that poem.
I hope so. I'm on Instagram at Teen Scrappy.
Yes, Teen Scrappy.
You will find.
And I love your shirt. I love your shirt too.
Thank you. Women in the life.
Say the website again.
At WITL_ATL.
Okay. And it's gonna be on Tubi.
Yes, it'll be on Tubi. Lord willing, and hopefully it'll be this month, because it would be great because it is Women's History Month, so it would be awesome to make history in Women's History Month.
That'd be perfect.
So again, the show Women in the Life. Okay, guys?
Yes. Nice.
At WITL_ATL to follow for updates and notifications. And then that is me at Teen Scrappy.
Teen Scrappy.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you for being on again, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Have a great night.
You too.